Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Level Up and Laugh, where we break down the most shocking, bizarre, and sometimes hilarious moments in church and culture. My name is Larry, and this is the co-host, Brother Leo. Leo, how you doing this morning?
Man, we recording this bright and early. I feel like I'm getting ready to catch a plane or something, man.
I want to talk about planes right now, man. This is too much.
Yo, one just flipped over the other day. How you flip over on the tarmac? It's crazy out here.
And it's Delta too. Spirit's like, hey, our planes
that low budget. We gotta make sure that low budget plane make sure everything is right, because we ain't got all that extra money. So Spirit, they making show for show. Knock on whatever that their flights are good, but my goodness, there's too many aviation accidents lately.
Can't call it, bro. Can't call it. But we got some videos we're gonna react to. The first one is evidence that Joni Lamb was talking to Doug Weiss before the divorce was complete. So Joni apparently spoke with Doug for 19 hours on the phone the same night that Marcus died. The same night. Let's run this clip and we'll talk about it on the other side. What's up, Level Up community? Larry here, and I've got some big news. Next Level Media Marketing is back and ready to help you craft your perfect message to attract customers and get paid. At Next Level, we've worked with hundreds of organizations to help them clarify their message and grow their business. And I don't just talk about this. I am a StoryBrand certified guide, meaning I use a proven system to make your brand stand out and drive real results. To celebrate our relaunch, I am doing something crazy. For the last week of February only, I'm offering 20 people 90% off my Next Level messaging package. If you have a business or organization, I will personally craft your offer and help you reach your ideal customer. With this package, you'll get an ideal client discovery pack, so you're going to know exactly who your customers are, a one-liner, a brand script and tagline, and a website wireframe. And the best part, you will receive everything in just 14 days. This pack is designed to help you communicate with your clients in a way that gets results. But here's the catch. This offer ends at 11:59 p.m. on February 28th. And I'm only taking 20 people. Once it's gone, it's gone. If you're ready to take your brand to the next level, click the offer link below and let's get started. It's time to level up.
Spoke with Doug Weiss for 19 hours on the night Marcus passed away. Yes, you heard that right. 19 hours. Doug, who was still married to Lisa at the time, was apparently a source of great comfort for Joni during her darkest hour. But this revelation has led many to speculate. Was there something more going on between Joni and Doug, even before Marcus's death? Adding fuel to the fire, Doug Weiss himself has made some eyebrow-raising statements. He once claimed that he was the first person to see Marcus Lamb in his casket when it was opened.
I was the first one there when they opened the casket before anyone was even there. And I find that ironic, because I loved Marcus. Sure. I love him as a man and what he's built, who he is, his kids, his family. I've loved him for years.
Now, while this could simply be a gesture of support, it has left some people wondering, was Doug's involvement in Marcus's passing more than just emotional support? Some have even gone as far as to suggest that Marcus's death should be re-examined, perhaps even as a case for forensic files. Whether these claims hold any weight or not, they've certainly added to the mystery surrounding this story.
This gets
weirder,
wild and weird. Yo, man. The level of don't pay any attention to me while I do what I said I wasn't gonna do is crazy. Like, okay, not only are you conversing, I don't know about you, Larry, but if my wife found out that I was chatting up somebody Yeah, how many hours in a day? 24?
19. Yeah, 24.
So I'm spending 20 out of my 24 hours, 19 on the phone with a currently married woman while you're in your sick bed is like, it don't
How do
make
you?
sense, bro.
I've never. I can't even fathom speaking to somebody for 19 hours. Period.
I did it when me and my wife were courting and dating or whatever. But it was like, it's crazy. It's like from at my big age to imagine, like I was young. I was like early 20s. At my big age, I get tired just thinking about that. Talking to somebody for 19 hours?
For real, they're old, bruh. They're not young.
You know what I mean? But they might have that sexual zeal.
And Doug has a whole wife.
It just, I don't know what you could be talking about for 19 hours with someone else while your spouse is in the hospital. And the word is that he was getting ready to be released prior to declining and passing away. But I don't know. It don't make sense. And listen, I've come to a point where I ain't even gonna ask Doug for explanations, bro. Y'all did what y'all did, okay? We don't know, okay? All it is speculation, conjecture, but the Lord knows, okay? The one that sits on high and looks low.
And I've said this multiple times, Dougie, I really hope you didn't have nothing to do with this.
Oh
no. The evidence is starting to pile up.
Bro.
And the fact that he said I was the first person to see him in the casket, that is a wild statement. That is just crazy.
Yeah.
And then you see
he's saying I was the first one to the tomb.
I had to make sure he was dead. Good God, bro.
He was like, okay. All right, here comes the countdown. I'm gonna go ahead and this is before you even file for divorce. So what was Joni a warm shoulder to cry on while her own spouse is on death's door? Like, who was leaning on who?
Crazy.
I really think that they just need to own it. Hey, either the marriage was an open marriage, okay, and we were doing what we were doing, you know, and we've asked the Lord for forgiveness, and now we're married to each other. Like, just be real, bro. Like, just be real. And people are more forgiving than you think, and some people ain't never gonna forgive you. All right, those ain't your people. But be honest. Like, okay, after Marcus stepped out, we opened that puppy up.
But no,
it was free for all.
This happened. This was prior to Marcus dying.
No, that's what I'm saying. After he had the affair, they possibly opened it up. Just say, hey, we opened it up. You know, we had a couple people over, and
who knows?
Was one of them.
Who knows? Marcus might have known.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if that was a revelation, then we'll be like, oh, okay. I mean, y'all nasty, but okay. You know, because that's less nefarious than, you know, you stepping behind a sick man's to try to get his wife.
All right, y'all. We got other stories to cover, but
boom. Hey. Tell us what you think in the comments, man. Like, oh, Have you ever spent 19 hours on the phone with someone?
And
what did you talk about?
What in the world could you talk about for 19 hours? You can't do a 19-hour Bible study or prayer meeting. So you obviously dipping into some other
Flash.
All right. So our next story is, and this is our first time really covering the Mike Bickle situation. This is very layered, and we're going to need some help from people in the comments to kind of help us.
Yeah, this is before our time on the tube. But it's...
Well, the victims of the Mike Bickle and the IHOP situation also went to the Restore conference and talk about the fact that, from what I understand, these women were groomed by this guy, Mike Bickle, who was the leader of IHOP, which apparently I'm not talking about the restaurant, okay?
They were flipping more than pancakes.
Yo, the International House of Prayer, and it has many YouTubers and many commentators calling it the International House of Predators. Because basically these women talk about how Mike Bickle started grooming them, basically having like movie nights with nothing but him and a bunch of 12 and 13-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls. Yeah. Having like private sessions, just basically just grooming one-on-one.
It's weird, bro. Like, weird.
And what I want to show is a clip of these women kind of talking about confronting the abuse. So I'm gonna start it at right here at 28, and we'll respond to it on the other side.
Some people ask me, Leo, what is your day job? All right, I'm a real estate broker, real estate investor. And you're asking, how come you guys haven't been putting up all these episodes? It's my fault. It's on me. I have been here trying to set up our next Airbnb. And I say that to say, if you guys are interested in learning about Airbnb, about real estate investing, let me know. Click the I'm interested button, put in your information, because if you are, I am willing to give you some free information to get you started, because that would have saved me a lot. A headache, a lot of heartache, and a lot of money. All right. Again, sorry we haven't been posting as many episodes, but if you're interested in doing Airbnb or real estate investing in general, please hit me up. Look, let me give you a quick. All right, we got our first guest checking in tomorrow, so I'm doing last minute touches. I'm too hands-on, right? I am. I'm too hands-on. We're doing our last minute touches on this property here before our guest comes. All right. Y'all let me know.
As we're watching this destruction of our friend's life, he's lost his wife, his children are alienated from him, and it's okay with Mike Bickle. And that was my first, whoa, you just start to spin. I call myself the most unlikely whistleblower because I rode for the brand, man, for IHOP KC. I rode for the brand. I raised a lot of money for them. And I was all in. I was on the board of directors for a term. I was in senior leadership. I mean, I believed this with all my heart. And so for me to come out and start to press for righteousness was, I wasn't unlikely in the sense that is what, I'm my dad's daughter. And so the minute when I saw it, I responded to it. But boy did I love that place. And boy did I love Mike. So when Deborah told me, I held her story. So now I've got these two stories. I've got our friend whose life is destroyed by the Bickle family. I'm talking to you guys on levels. Well, actually, we're here in this room. Probably a lot of you can't imagine what kind of levels of trauma and violence and absolute evisceration of humans that can happen at the hands of the powerful. It was like watching a real life David and the prophet Nathan's story. And our friend had one little lamb, and Mike Bickle's family came and ripped it away from him. And so we were indignant over this. I mean, we've had to go to court, literally. I mean, anyways, it was just a nightmare. So when Deborah came on the heels of that, it all started to slot for me. And there was no other option except for Mike is a very, very bad guy. Very bad man. And so what are you going to do except for go to war and start to try and set people free? There's so many thousands.
So I guess that was somebody who worked with Mike Bickle for their church. She mentioned the fact that she raised a lot of money. She was on the board of directors, all of that. And then she got word from one of the victims where it kind of just opened up a can where she began to see, yo, this guy is just going in destroying people's lives. In a lot of these ministries, bro, they build up a huge following, they build up a huge like fan base, if you want to call it that. And to see the way these leaders kind of act on the back behind the scenes is just crazy, man. It's crazy. And what is it that causes these guys to do the things that they do when they're on? And you mentioned even with the Jakes thing, like they have so much to lose. Like you have so much to lose, but you're still doing this stuff. It wasn't just to one girl, it was several, right? That he was literally grooming. And I believe he even actually abused a few of them in real life. So it went all the way there. What causes this? And I don't know. I'm kind of speechless when I think about these leaders. And this is just one of many cases of guys who've done this. So what are your thoughts?
Bro, okay. To build anything up to a high level, you need a certain level of self belief. You need a certain level of conviction. And along the way, it's very easy to lose yourself, and if you don't get checked and you don't have or maintain the servant's mindset, because as whatever it is, the organization goes up, as the ministry goes up, you get more money, you get more power, you get more influence. And that's when that darkness can creep out if you don't have accountability. And it looks like from the outside that there was zero accountability on his part. Like, what parent? I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't grow up in church. I came to the Lord in like my teenage years, like 16-ish, 15. So forgive me. And I grew up Catholic. Okay, and the Catholic Church got its own craziness going on with the priests.
Yeah.
But my parents were like, there's some things that ain't going on. That this man, this grown man is having a movie night with preteen girls by himself in a church of that size, mind you. Aren't there some accountability? Like, why is it that there's one person in that room? Why isn't it the youth leaders coming together and having a movie night? Like, I remember throwing a lock-in as a youth director, youth pastor. And when I had my lock-in, I made sure, and at that time I was maybe like 21 years old. So I made sure that there were several people that were on our youth team there, and I made sure that every room and every activity had at least 2 adults in it at all times. And if you were transitioning from one place to another, you were escorted, and you didn't go alone. You were escorted by multiple adults, and you didn't go as one kid. So these 2 adults couldn't just take one kid. It had to be multiple adults, like where are the guidelines? Where are the guardrails for these levels of interaction in these organizations?
Let me respond. One, when it comes to these organizations, especially when you're the leader, because this stuff didn't just happen overnight. It's a grooming process, right? Where you build trust because from what I heard from some of the victims, like the parents really loved Mike Bickle. He was a charismatic guy. They got really behind it. And what ends up happening is he basically helps you he puts your guards down by the way he interacts with you. And that's really, it seems like just a predator's type of thing where you're like, you become so enamored with him and his personality and the things that he's doing that you just feel like, and he's the voice of God, right? Where you trust everything that he says. And all of a sudden, so all of the things you're kind of mentioning, like, yeah, even I'm sure even on the surface, maybe some of those things were there. But what I think is really evident is the way that most of these ministries are set up. I wouldn't trust their accountability systems, period. Like, I think it's better to be skeptical before even trusting anything, because really this stuff can be manipulated with the right person and with the right type of maneuvers.
Yeah, it's always trust but verify. But there's got to be a place where the predator's job is or desire can't survive, or has to maneuver around so many different safeguards that they get, like, discouraged and be like, because I just don't get it. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I do not get it. Like, I don't get it. And the fact that I have sons and I'm protective of them. If I had daughters, my level of just being a hawk would be ridiculous. But I just pause at the fact that, why are we doing this? Why him? Like, you know what I mean? And so back again to some of my experiences as a youth leader, I was single as a bird, but I made sure that my staff had several married couples and other young women in the team to be able to do stuff that I didn't feel comfortable doing. Like, I had female mentors that would come and take the girls out for ice cream and take the girls out to go shopping. Like, those things, those are some of the things that I was like, okay, I'm not comfortable doing by myself. I'm not comfortable with one person doing it. So we got to make sure that it's multiple people and that there's safeguards. And to have this happen, again, I don't want to victim blame, but You can't trust these.
Listen, bro. On the last video, folks came at your neck in the comments, and we gotta. Hey. no victim blaming. And this is from a long time ago too. A lot of these cases. So what we have to, we applaud victims for stepping out because they went through a lot to come out with this story, and we just have to let's
get caught lacking though. You can't get caught lacking because you know these pedos and predators are out there.
But you don't expect. You always think. You never expect it's going to be the one that the person that you're dealing with. And I think ultimately it comes down to policy, and it comes to actually having systems in place that protect people from getting caught up in this stuff. And it takes actually being intentional about making sure this stuff doesn't happen in your ministry. And the leader has to be the one to initiate it.
But this leader was the one that
we'll revisit this. We kind of spent a little longer on there than on this story than we wanted to, but let's end with this crazy story.
This a doozy, boy,
out of North Carolina. So let's run this, and then we'll wrap it up for today.
There's an interesting development in the Pastor John Paul Miller case and the death of his wife. Remember, the pastor is the one who oddly announced at the end of a church service how his wife died.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And yeah, it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina.
Now, Pastor John Paul and his wife Micah had been separated for some time, long enough for Pastor John Paul Miller to have a girlfriend. And this girlfriend has an interesting past. Her name is Susie Skinner, and according to multiple sources, Susie and Pastor John Paul have been dating for quite a while. And that's interesting because the pastor and Micah Miller were not legally divorced. And as you can tell in this picture with Susie, the pastor still has his wedding ring on. But there's something disturbing that the pastor and Susie Skinner have in common.
We're learning more about the man who died after being found unresponsive in an Horry County pool. The victim was 40-year-old Christopher Skinner, a paraplegic and a motivational speaker.
Susie Skinner's former husband, Chris Skinner, died from a drowning accident. Chris Skinner had a tragic accident some 20 years ago that left him bound to a wheelchair, but he adapted and lived a beautiful life. And according to Susie, he enjoyed going to their community pool often by himself. And on Labor Day 2021, Chris did just that. But apparently something went terribly wrong. According to reports, Chris got too close to the pool with his wheelchair and fell in, with nobody around to save him. And as I said, Chris had been in his wheelchair for almost 20 years. And according to Susie, every day during the summer since 2013, they would go to this pool. So he was familiar with the area. But somehow, on Labor Day 2021, Chris misjudged how close he was to the pool and fell in. And guess who conducted his funeral?
It's very, very exciting. I was Chris's pastor to preach a funeral in which I don't have to lie. It's probably my first funeral where I get to say all the truthful stuff. And that's because we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Chris was a child of God, is a child of God, faithful husband, wonderful father, great friend, brother.
And if you want to read more about the life of Chris and Susie Skinner and how she's adapted to this tragic accident, you don't have to go very far. You just have to go to the pastor's own church website. The entire story is there. I want to be very clear. This is all just circumstantial evidence. As of now, there's nothing connecting the two deaths. But I do believe this is a very important part to a story that's becoming very complicated. A story that, according to friends and family of Micah Miller, that's very dark. Darker than what the good pastor wants you to know.
God hates divorce. But why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?
Okay, so this happened a few months back, okay? And I know we hadn't covered this, but I need y'all in the comments to let me know how crazy, how wild. Okay. The clip that came out of him calling her a hottie, a Christian hottie, is wild. It's out of pocket. I'm from the platform, from the pulpit. Like, come on, man. Shooting his shot. Like, bro, okay. Let me take a step back. This woman is grieving the loss of her husband.
Mm-hmm.
You are separated from your wife. And I take it as a believer, the trial separation is an effort to go to your corners, work on some stuff, and see if there's a way to come back together and keep the marriage alive. My understanding of a separation isn't, hey, let's separate. I could go party over here. You go party over there. And once our flesh is satisfied, then we might come back together. That's not how I take it. But that seems to be what was happening. And all the while that his wife was, let's take it at face value, was having some mental health issues and unalived herself. I didn't really dip into the flesh like the world be doing before I came to God. Is the cooch that good? Like, I'm having a hard time understanding what the level of things that people are willing to sacrifice, including their ministry, their families, over a piece of tail. Like, I don't understand it. Is it that good? Is it that sweet that you're willing to lose it all?
Go to prison for life. Or like, well, with her husband, the woman's husband, that story's crazy. How, I mean, he swimmed, he goes swimming all the time. So that's one thing that he does. And all of a sudden he just drowns like that. Something doesn't add up with that. And then many people who knew his wife knew something was seriously off about the whole story, about her unaliving herself. So there was a lot. This is actually an older story. Like, this is from like last year. So there was a bunch of videos coming out.
And a bunch of speculation. Like, but it's just weird to me that, like, and here's another thing. We need to reframe divorce.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I've actually had this happen. I was talking to a young man who's no longer in the faith, right? He's reading tarot cards now. And
I know where this was, who you're talking about.
We were having a conversation about marriage and divorce. and with a level of seriousness that I was not prepared for. You know how you're half serious, half joking? But this level of seriousness I was not prepared for. Where we were discussing either getting a divorce or unaliving someone. And he was like, if you unalive them, you'll go to jail. If it's in rage or passion, then you'll get manslaughter. And after jail, you get remarried again. Because God will forgive the murder.
What?
Exactly, bro. I was like, I said, no, bro, you better gotta forgive the divorce. He's like, but you can't get married again. I was like, bro, chill on that. Let this person live and go on and feast in the flesh, if you will. But don't make that like it isn't. I'm sorry, okay? You could call me radical. You could call me, God forbid, New Age. But it's better to plan a divorce than to plan a covert spousal assassination. I'm sorry. And if you disagree with me, hit me in the comments. Because I don't care if you disagree. I'm standing 10 toes down saying I'd more rather you go ahead and say, hey, I'm putting my wife away. I don't really have a good biblical reason, but I'm just not feeling it anymore and I'm out. And I'm going to ask God to forgive me.
I guess what makes it different is being a pastor. So if you're pastoring a church, which
Bro,
I've seen,
a pastor, of one has to be a husband of one wife. Okay, some people you can't lead. It's better to do that than to be a murderer.
Right.
Okay, so some people won't come to your church. Some people won't submit to your leadership. That's okay. Because some people weren't submitted to your leadership anyways.
I think overall the church just has a really toxic view of relationships in so many different ways. It's like we're trying to fit this paradigm into people's lives that sometimes just doesn't. Like, I don't think that the way the church prepares people for marriage. When I say the church, obviously every single church is different. So, just in general, we haven't really gotten this part right in a lot of ways. Yeah. And there's been a lot of casualties as a result.
Yeah, we taboo sex and anything sexual, and then we're like, hey, you're married now, so just go at it, guys. And people suffer a lot of disconnection because of that, because you've spent most of your life just running from this thing, and now you're supposed to be gung-ho about it. But either way, it doesn't in no way justifies you unaliving somebody or even thinking about it.
I don't know, bro.
It's better to call a lawyer than to call a hitman. Okay?
I mean, there's complications all the way around, but from this whole standpoint, and the fact that you did bro's funeral, that was just strange. And just his demeanor, he seemed energetic. I'm sorry, I do not need a pastor being energetic at
your funeral.
Yeah, all right, a funeral, right? Like that's just crazy and strange, and
I'm so excited. He cleaned it up well though, that I don't have to lie.
What are you excited about? Like, I don't know.
That's definitely the wrong term.
But the
relieved, maybe. Hey, I'm relieved that I don't have to make up stuff and place people in places where.
I even think I've heard people say that too about church services. Like, you ever notice, like, you all, like, most, and this is across the board, churches want you to be excited all the time. Where literally, like, the music, everything's all about, we have to keep everyone excited all the time.
Yeah,
but people, like, you don't even have, like, the Bible says there's a time to mourn too, right?
Yeah. But that's more in the charismatic realm too, because I've been to some churches that are, bro. I've been to some churches. Hit me up in the comments below. Some churches, bro. I will not name names, but as a young college student in Virginia, I went to some churches, bro. My brother. I had to put 2 toothpicks between my eyes. To stay awake. Because it was dry. Just desert. Not a good word. Not a good song. Bro, the hymnals had no dust on them. Pure hymnal. All day. So I've been and I've been to Pentecostal churches that are like that.
Yeah.
I've been to Baptist churches that are like that. Bro. And congregation be huge. I went to one where congregation was like 1,500 people. Try.
Well, I guess we'll have to
tell us what you know about this story, man, because we're just discovering it. It just hit my timeline, and I'm like, this is crazy. We got to talk about it, Larry. I was like,
I'm curious to see if there was any developments on anything, because sometimes with these cases, especially when it comes to like having to do investigations and stuff, it takes a little while to kind of figure out, get all the loose ends tied. But definitely let us know what you think, and also let us know what you think of this format. We're experimenting with a new format for the show, and we are putting this out there. Let us know if there are any stories you want us to talk about in a future episode, and also if you want to be a vibe,
subscribe. I'm working on my voice, man. I might. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. Hey,
y'all be blessed, man.
Peace.
Peace.